Okay, so if you follow my page, you may have noticed I do some unconventional stuff. I'm always playing around with different things. In fact, for the last 3 years, I've been on a real tour to just unmake myself and to let go of everything I thought was right or wrong and just to experiment and to feel and to try. And that is because of problems that arose in me, but also the problems I see daily treating people and working with different individuals. Now, when I started training, it's because I wanted to get better control of my body. I sucked at everything physical and I wanted to be able to join in, right? And eventually that led to karate and martial arts, and that eventually led to like doing MMA, and I felt really, really good. But then, back then there was a lot of magazines, so I was reading a lot of magazines, and it's like I started seeing some S&C, so I started adding in like weighted step ups. That we did some kettlebells anyway, but I started pushing them a bit heavier, and then I come across like the compound movements, the squats, the benches, the deadlifts, and I initially started them, and I felt good. I felt like I kept more muscle mass on me when I was cutting, and it seemed to help. But then I started to get injured. But I just continued down that path, and I did still, do MMA, and eventually that moved to jiu-jitsu. But I started having more back problems, more injuries, and then as I started PT, I transitioned to more and more lifting. Eventually, I just got so addicted to that lifting, that rush. That was it. I went full into that, and spent a good 5, 6 years just getting stronger and stronger and stronger and packing on muscle. But I was like under sort of the illusion that strength would fix everything. Strength would give me options. Strength was the key to longevity, the key to health. But it actually created a lot more problems for me. And then I started to break down. I started to get injured. So it was like, right, okay, this dude says throw in the anti-rotations, throw in the McGills, do this, do that, and that didn't help. Not really at all. Then it's like, well, if I'm running, I'm fit, that'll do it. So I'll lift and I'll run, I'll become hybrid. Yeah, I got fitter. That definitely was a good thing, but it didn't help me get that feeling that I wanted. I still felt really crappy. My biomechanics were terrible. Okay, you start loading stuff, you get into ranges and you load it. Now that started to unlock some stuff. I did start to feel better, but I was still very vulnerable, especially to like rapid movements and athletic movements. When I started doing, like athletic training with my lad, I realised how many gaps there are in my game still. And I've got this power, but I can't use it, and I'm hurting myself still. Return me a doctor. And I realised I was creating sort of laxity where I didn't want to by doing that. That's why I kind of shifted away from it, because I actually told my doctor and didn't realise. I just looked and I had a massive bruise and it was a bit sore, but it was like, I didn't even notice. I was like, that's not great. So then it was like, oh, we have to put movements together. There has to be rhythm. There has to be coordination. There has to be like actual athleticism. The things we see in athletic training, that led me to throwing, to get more involved in that, and to what you see me doing now. That's why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I want to feel good. I want to build a body that's capable. And I don't think the things out there are ticking those boxes. So I'm creating something else.